Hi, it's me, and that's him, and we're the Sci-Fi Scholars.
And we're talking Warcraft.
The beginning.
As always, to stay spoiler free, you can click where that box pops up, which will be right here. Click it if you want to stay spoiler free.
If you've played the games, you already got spoilers anyway. Well, kind of. There's some lore. Some things were changed, some things were not. Overall, I've played Warcraft 1, 2, and 3 ages ago. I played a little bit of World of Warcraft, not much, whereas you didn't play any of that.
I had known nothing about Warcraft. I even watched a video, can't remember what for or who did it. I might have just read something. Either way, I went in trying to think of, to have a little bit of knowledge.
Yeah.
It didn't help me because I sat there and down there and went, all right, the start of this movie. All right, we got green magic. Is that good or is that bad? Damn it, I forgot which one's which. I figured it out pretty quickly.
It was kind of obvious.
It gave me a couple of seconds and I went, yep, green's bad.
Yeah.
Blue's good.
Yeah, so...
So I know nothing. I'm not a fantasy man. Never played the Warcraft games or anything like that.
Yeah, so having played them, including like even the newer stuff like Hearthstone a bit, I found that there was enough things that I remembered from when I played the games that were in this movie to be like nice Easter eggs, like, and just nods to various parts of lore, like the scene of the little Murloc before they go into the house and meet the king. Like I'm like, yes, Murlocs. Obviously, it doesn't go into like whether they're a major race or anything in the world of Azeroth, and there's so much more that comes to this realm later on in the storyline, like tons of other races and stuff. But I felt this was a really good setup for the Azeroth and the Warcraft universe.
I like the way they set it up. I liked the fact, and this was something the director Duncan Jones, when he came on, changed because the story was one-sided. He made it so you saw both sides of the story, so you never saw the orcs as evil. It was the Fel that were evil, which I liked. So the humans versus the orcs. I mean, yeah, it was like the orcs were kind of the bad guys in it, but you got enough of their side of the story to at least go, I don't see them as the bad guys. Well, not all of them, at least, anyway.
Yeah, because Medivh, I was called the Guardian, and Gul'dan, the Warlock, were both being kind of affected by the Fel,
Yeah.
and orchestrated the whole thing effectively.
Yes, which I thought was a cool little twist as well.
And there's obviously going to be a lot of people pissed off because they did change tons of stuff from the actual games and reset the universe, but they kind of have to. Like, there's way too much background in the games and stuff that if you were just to follow them, like, there'd be no point making a movie because you just know. Obviously, we basically know how it's going to play out.
But there's also the difference of, and it's the same with comic books to movies as well, and even books, and even TV shows to movies.
Yeah.
Doesn't always adapt well unless you change things.
Yeah.
You just have to change things for a narrative story, and sometimes things get lost. But if you know the world well enough, you can pull it off. And I don't know the world, so I don't know whether they did pull it off.
Visually, for me, there was a lot of things that they were, from what I remember of the games, that were done well. Like, also the thing, like when he shows him it's like the gun, which is like dwarves called boomsticks. I was like, that's awesome, because from like, I'm not sure if there's got other names from as well, but in what I remember, they did call them boomsticks.
Well, I got that from this. I was like, that's obviously what they call them in the movie, in the games, and I liked that. That was cool to keep up stuff they keep in they have in the in the games to the movies.
And then the called Alliance symbol with the face of the lion on all their shields and stuff. That's, from what I remember, very heavily in all the games, and it was good to see them basically going, yes, we're taking this background and as much of it as we can keep and chucking it into a movie.
Yeah, I mean, I actually enjoyed the movie. I really liked the directional style, like just the angles he chose, the way he went about like blocking scenes and whatnot. Obviously, I'm a technical side of man. We've already established that many times. But I really liked this directional style because he wasn't afraid to stay on shots for a while and let things play out without lots of quick cuts. But there was still a lot of intensity in it when it needed to be there, which I really enjoyed. I thought he did a really good job. I still there's something about motion capture and CGI characters that just still don't sit well with me. This is one of the better lot of motion capture or CG characters I have seen in any movie that I can think of. But I still just, my brain just can't wrap my, like, I just see it as a CG character, not as a real character. That's just where I sit with it. And it's not to say that they did a bad job, but I feel like they're trying too hard. This is Hollywood in general, to have CG characters when the CG isn't quite there yet, in my opinion. Isn't quite there yet to make you believe that is a real character.
Okay, but is it for you mainly just the humanoid characters? Because the Griffin was obviously CG. Like, you can't have a Griffin. Yeah. But so for me,
I'm talking the orcs.
Yeah, so the orcs, right? So is that just because they don't quite move how you would expect a humanoid shape to move? Do you reckon that's what the problem is?
A little bit.
Because the Griffin, for me, I loved the Griffin.
I liked the Griffin. Yes,
the Griffin was awesome, and obviously that's CG.
Particularly when they come in the end fight and
he just goes absolutely nuts, just canes everything.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was awesome.
No, yeah, I really like the Griffin, but that's not a motion capture.
Yeah, it's still
that's a CG character, yes, but it's not a character per se. It's not a speaking character that they want you to relate to.
Okay.
Like one of the orcs. That's where I'm referring to. So CG animals, stuff like that, like the Griffin, they totally can do those as much as they like, because I love them. But it was the trying to relate to the orcs and to the main chieftain guy that they followed. I forget his name.
Durotan.
I couldn't, because I just didn't believe.
Yep.
And that was with me checking my brain at the door, not trying to, knowing that they were going to be CG characters. That's just me personally. But then again, the only character I really did like was Cagdan.
Yep.
We're going to call him the Apprentice Guardian because I don't know what else to call him. But I just like the fact that he was pretty badass, even though he wasn't.
Yeah, like he even said in the movie, like, I left my training, but I didn't leave my skills behind.
Yeah, I really liked the way he went about his business, and just, you know, when he went up to see the top people.
Yeah.
At one point, when he finds out the Guardian's been lying to them, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Shut up! I got something to tell you."
And then they're like, "Oh wait, you know about the Guardian and what's her name? Basically, the previous version of the Guardian, who's in that giant
knows
box."
about yeah. And then they're like, he's like, "Do I go in?"
We don't know.
It's never done that before.
And then, basically, it turns out like she's dying.
Yeah. But anyway, his character, Cagdan, was, by far my favourite character, just because I felt like I could relate to him out of any of them.
I really liked how they did the magic as well, with like all the circles and that stuff. So, obviously, I can't comment really on World of Warcraft whether they did that right, but it looked cool. Way they did it. It looked really visually cool.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. That was part of the good parts of the movie for me.
And one of the other visual things I really, really liked was when the golem got corrupted by the Fel magic. That reminded me of Warcraft 3 with like the giant golems falling from the sky, and how they had the black rock and the green on them as well. That looked, for me, that was really, really cool. And then like throwaway line like, "Oh, good idea, cut off his head." He's like, "Yes, that was totally the idea."
Yeah. So overall, it's a good movie. Much like most other blockbusters you go see, is kind of check your brain at the door a little bit. But the good thing about this was it was never, here's the bad guys, here's the good guys. It was, here's some characters, and then here's the overlying evil that's kind of influencing everybody.
Yeah.
Which is what I liked about it. It was a different take on that. And yeah, so I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the rest of, obviously this is going to be a franchise. It's already done pretty well. Blizzard's got the money, and they are using it to drive their game sales, which is, I guess, their core business. So for me, it's really exciting to see the kickoff of a new fantasy series, which has done really well. It's a well-made movie, and I expect they'll just keep escalating it and bring more and more of the various things into the universe.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.